Hello Taurus, Taurus rising and Taurus moon people. This is your monthly astrological horoscope for March 2017. And a quick reminder for you guys, remember this is all about the seasonal overviews of what's going on with the energy of March, the big shifts and the big moves. If you're looking for more momentary or maybe daily or possibly even, partial weekly basis angles, I recommend coming back for the weekly horoscopes. The first half of them are all exclusively astrology, so if you like astrology only, that still works for you. And you'll be getting to see what goes on more of a timely basis of when it's happening, what's going on there in the shorter term. And of course, if you ever want to get a session with me, you can follow the links below or go to integrativemysticism.com. So what is going on with your March? Well, March we have, I've been saying, an unprecedented amount of planets moving through Aries. We're going to have Mercury there, Venus there, the Sun there, a new moon there, and we're going to have Uranus all there. And this is talking about your 12th house, your hidden zone, the area that we have behind the scenes, anything that may have to deal with our past or any entitlements, leftover business that has to do with our past. This could indicate opportunities to maybe even reclaim old opportunities, old maybe work opportunities, love opportunities, entitlements that could be coming our way, so a big focus is going to be there. And we do see this in the beginning of the month. We've got Jupiter in retrograde, currently in Libra, in your 6th house of work, reputation, as well as your physical health, forming an opposition to Uranus in your 12th house. And this is a good thing. Even though we think oppositions are bad, we do know that this is actually a good thing. And with Jupiter opposite Uranus, what tends to happen is there's some kind of big breakthrough in this area as it relates to an old issue you've been working on, whether it's a long-standing health issue or a chronic health issue. Over the course of the first 3 weeks of the month, we may actually be seeing a sudden improvement or maybe a new treatment option being available that does actually clear it up in a big way. We also could find out that, again, on the work front, on the money front, because this is a work area, the 6th house, there's an old opportunity to perhaps seize an ideal position or a new job, maybe even apply for a raise, something that we may have applied for in the past. Maybe we felt like we got passed over, maybe we didn't actually jump on that opportunity we thought, or maybe we just, a certain company we applied to in the past, didn't pick us, or we didn't, we chose not to accept an offer. It's coming back on the table again for you to reconsider, which actually may be something to try. We also have at the beginning of the month Venus going retrograde in this 12th house. And Venus retrograde is very, very different than a Mercury retrograde. Some people try and apply the Mercury retrograde rules to Venus retrograde and it just doesn't work. Because Venus retrograde it works on that emotional level. It works more on the feelings level, whereas Mercury retrograde kind of plays on communications in the mind. Venus retrograde plays on the feelings and on the insecurities, and this is going on your 12th house, so it's a bit softer for you than it is for everyone else this month, which is a good thing. Because when Venus is retrograde, we've got to pay attention to 3 things. We've got to pay attention to temptation, alright? Focus on instant gratification and trust and insecurities, alright? And this is happening in your 12th house, so this could be dealing with people from your past, or again, old incidents from our past. But when Venus is retrograde, it's sort of playing games, because what she does is, it's sort of a manipulative kind of feeling. We may be having wrongful associations come up that you need to be careful of. Sometimes we have a bad experience with a lover, we have a bad experience with a family member, we have a bad experience with a work situation, and we think we're seeing it happen again when we're not, because Venus retrograde is kind of saying, ping, 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 doesn't this look familiar? Watch out, don't take that job, don't do that task, don't trust that person. He reminds you of your ex-boyfriend, or she reminds you of your bully sister, those kinds of things. And be careful, because sometimes we can wrongfully accuse or wrongfully persecute during this time. What's also important, though, to pay attention to is that when Venus is retrograde, again, it can sometimes lead us to temptation. It can lead us to trying to indulge ourselves to feel better in the moment, but we're not necessarily thinking of long term. And this again has to do with what we're doing in our private life or in what we're doing in secret. And so it's very important to pay attention to where we don't want to accidentally be tempted to say, hurt somebody because we're trying to make ourselves feel better during this time. This most likely, with the 12th house, it does have a lot more to do with, say, relatives, lovers, as well as, people, again, we've known for a really long time. And there may be a chance that there could be some weird interplay going on there as far as, again, what we do to make ourselves feel better. But it might only be for the moment, but it might have a longer term consequence, So if a family member and you are trying to work something out, but we're still holding grudges against them, or if a lover and you are getting closer, but we're feeling like we're not getting everything we want, it's important to pay attention to where Venus retrograde may push us to focus on that instant gratification relief instead of a solution, because that's not always the best thing. In fact, it's never the best thing. And that's going to be with us all month. Now, the nice thing is we've got Mars moving into your sign shortly afterwards, so you've got a lot more on your hands, you've got a lot more to do than just sit and wallow in the Venus retrograde fields. Because when Mars goes into your sign, it's basically the wild card blessing of that planet. Mars is the planet of action, conviction, energy, industry, and honor. And when it's moving through your sign, you actually are in a place to be cementing better loyalties with people. So it's going to offset that Venus retrograde energy. I think it's focusing more on our trust than anything else. With Mars in your sign, you tend to have stronger relationships, especially with those who are considered your platonic support system, your closest friends, and you are making that a lot more tight. You're also going to be noticing that work, you're having a competitive advantage there. You're being seen more. You're also going to be given a lot more opportunities to compete for higher positions and higher pay. And with Mars in your sign, you may even notice that you're getting some kind of benefits when it comes to competitive sports, if you're an athlete, or maybe you're in a competitive situation artistically or spiritually, when it comes to, when we think about things like contests and marathons and, exclusive groups and clubs and things like that. You're getting a lot more popular, and I think that Mars is trying to work that way into getting you into that more, productive place, but also by tempting you with some popularity, which is not so bad with Mars there. But it is going to be nice because I think that Mars in your sign does always give you an opportunity to have first pick and be first pick, and you can use that anywhere you want. We also have a full moon occurring in Virgo in your 5th house of love and romance. And this is going to be happening between the 10th and the 11th. It's an overnight kind of energy. And it's going to set up the middle 2 weeks of this month to be fantastic for love. Because when we have a full moon in Virgo, we tend to get a lot out in the open when it comes to romantic when it comes to our romantic life. This could be good news for those of you that are looking to perhaps get closer to somebody new in your life, to take things to a more evolved level. But I will say with Venus retrograde, it's not a good idea to try and make things official. Like I kind of said with the Aries people, if it can't wait till Venus retrograde's over, it's not strong enough to survive official. So, wait till the end of the month for that. But this full moon could actually still bring a lot more bonding. It's just basically everything but the label. And what also happens with this full moon is that it kind of, without getting too, I guess you could say, blue about it, it does actually raise the roof in terms of a little bit more sexual and sensual gratification that's coming your way from a partner or a sweetheart. New love opportunities could be available during this time, but again, make sure that we don't let things go too fast, because sometimes when we have the emotional roof raised with a full moon, we tend to go faster than we should. And with Venus retrograde there, it's just, again, you heard it here, I'm saying don't. Just don't. Don't let it go that fast. Okay, moving on. So, we've also got week 3-ish, we've got Mercury moving into Aries, and the Sun moving into Aries. Again, moving into that 12th house of your past, your privacy, your hidden zone. But these are actually kind of taking the edge off. They're fighting off that Venus retrograde energy very well for you. Because with Mercury in your 12th house, we're having an opportunity to get closer to people, and again, have people divulge things they've been keeping in secret, share things that we might not feel like we're comfortable sharing secrets with either. and that's where walls are coming down with Mercury in the 12th house. And we do need to be able to know when walls need to come down. And you may be noticing that people who you've wanted to have a closer relationship with, or people you used to have a close relationship with, are wanting to open up after a period of maybe, too much self-protection or too tight of boundaries, and Mercury is going to be working out, how do we iron this out? How do we get people actually communicating articulately, effectively, and honestly during this time without having to worry again about those Venus retrograde field poisons? Not that feelings are poison, but when Venus is retrograde, sometimes it kind of, it steals a lot of attention. The Sun going into your 12th house is also talking about healing issues of the past. And again, healing past relationship issues, or perhaps even recovering things from your past. And it's going to be here all the way up until the 3rd week of April. So if you're trying to recover things from your past, things that you have lost, whether it's money, whether it's possibly even things that are owed to you that you never got to have, or maybe even, again, trying to get back to a certain status or a certain place in your life, in your health, this is an excellent time to be focusing on that. We're talking about recuperating from losses, recovering losses, or finally getting things that are meant to be ours in our hands between the 20th of this month and the 21st of April. Finally, towards the end of the month, we've got Mercury moving into your sign. It just kind of cruises right through Aries, it really does. And with Mercury going into Taurus, we've got you speeding up everything in your life, okay? All of a sudden, everything that's been feeling sluggish, a little bit slow, things that have been taking too long to germinate, too long to happen, people have been, maybe pussyfooting around too much, maybe there's been not a lot of, there's too much hemming and hawing, procrastination. Mercury going into your sign basically says we're catching up on lost time, and again, everything is kind of working like we just had a 5-hour energy shot or a rock star. It's moving super quickly. In fact, honestly, we have these developments go up in a way that's very profitable to you. Whenever Mercury is in Taurus, it tends to increase profits for whoever it's with. And for you, since you are the Taurus, I think you're going to be getting the best benefit of all. And a lot of that, again, is the last week of this month and going into April. We also have a new moon in Aries, in that, the area of your past, your hidden zone. And with a new moon in the 12th house when it comes to our past, this is talking about getting more serious about maybe a spiritual practice, or maybe even a health practice that might actually be very beneficial for, again, your mind, your body, and your soul. This might be a time to consider taking up meditation, studying energy work, getting more serious about, your connection, your unique experiences with what could be considered otherworldly or spiritual. And there's nothing actually wrong with that. Hell, obviously that's just the life I live. But I think that for a lot of you Taurus people, this may be a profound way for a lot of you to sort of wake up a side of yourselves that was already there, or get control of something, or finally explore something that you couldn't really explain with the rational light of day types of logic. And so towards the end of this month, you're going into a very, very spiritual space. So that is your forecast, Taurus. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please like, share, and subscribe. I appreciate it. And of course, if you'd like to get a session, you can always follow the links below, or go to integrativemysticism.com.